Hello there, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Higher Self Wednesday to you. My name is Karen White, and I am the author of this book, Changing the Game Plan. And this is my journey, my 12-step journey of how I work the steps with my 4 sponsors, and I put it all together into a 53-page workbook guiding you as a sponsee and a sponsor through the steps. It is a wonderful journey. It changed my life 365 degrees working the steps this way. It is a workbook. It's available to you on Amazon.com. You have to have a sponsor or a clergyman or a therapist or somebody to work this with. You cannot work this by yourself. It's meant to work with someone, and someone that knows the 12-step program or is around the 12-step program. So go out to Amazon.com right now and make your purchase if you want to work the steps. It is a fantastic way. It's very simple. It's put together really easy, and give it a try. It is my journey of how I did it, so take what you like and leave the rest. It is, like I said, my journey, but I would love to share it with you, and so enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Thank you for joining me again. We are doing so well with these steps, and I don't know about you. I am learning so much. I am studying for this for you, and as I'm studying, I am learning so much through all of this, and I'm just really excited about what God is bringing to all of us through working the 12 steps. I am in both sides of this room. I'm on the addictive side, and I'm also on the non-side, so I qualify for both sides of this. I only use 4 books. I use the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon 12 and 12, and the ODA. Those were the 4 books that we had back then. We didn't have, I remember when the Courage to Change book was even released. So we didn't have, those were the books that we had, and my sponsors, those were the only ones that they ever worked with me, and I have just kept that routine going because I cannot share my experience, strength, and hope unless I stay to the program that I'm taught. So I am so excited. These videos are doing very well. Thank you for all your support. If you want to reach out to me, you can at programchild.net. There is a contact form there. I do not do messaging at all, so if you go out on programchild.net, you can reach out to me. And yes, if I'm available, I would love to speak at your meetings or your conferences or whatever else you want to ask me to speak at in these 12-step rooms. So with all that said, let's get started because we have so much to cover. We are on step 3, and oh my God, was it like awesome last week. It was just really awesome just studying. We were in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to be in the Big Book again today, and then next week we're going to move on into the other literature as well. And one of the things that I always start off with is the definition to every word that's in the step. That's one of the things that I talk about a lot in this book. In every single step that you work with me, you have to look up every single word, because Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob chose those words precisely for us. And those are the words that are taking us through the steps, and we need to understand them. And most of us, we don't know what most of the words mean and why they're there and why they're put together. And when you look them up, they become so powerful, and you get such an understanding of what the step is doing for you and how it's changing and working in your life. So let's get started. We're on step 3. Yay! Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Oh my God. I love this step. It is such a powerful step. Now let me tell you how I work the steps. I work steps 1, 2, and 3 together, 4 and 5 together, 6 and 7 together, 8 and 9 together, and 10, 11, and 12 together. So just think, you're working the steps and you're with your sponsor, your therapist, or whoever you're working, and you've worked steps 1, you worked through that now, and you've done step 2, you've worked through that. And step 1, you've understood your powerlessness. Step 2, you understood that there's been something with you and that there's hope and there's something greater than you, and you don't have to take that responsibility no more. And then you get to this step where the first time we ever mention our higher power as being God in this step. This is the first time that God is ever mentioned in the steps. And like I said, it says, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. And then in italics, it goes, as we understood him. And that's so important, because always remember, we never change until we understand what we're changing for. And that's why the 12-step program is so important and so awesome, because the 12-step program gives you understanding of why you're like you are, why you did what you did, why you need to do this to recover, and why you need to continue. So it's constantly giving you understanding and understanding. And when we understand, we will make those big steps to change. I know I'm always telling people, make me understand, because if I understand, I'm with you. I can do this. I can help you. And it's the same when it comes to us, our personal lives. When we understand where we're at, we will make these changes. So let's jump into the definitions right away so we can see what the definitions said. Made a decision. Made means produce or manufacture by constructing, shaping, or forming. Produced or manufactured by constructing, shaping, or forming. Isn't that something that starts off saying that, we're being shaped and formed? It says, A, used before a mass noun to indicate a singular type of an example. A decision, the act of making up one's mind. The act of making up one's mind. 2, in one direction toward a person or thing. Turn, to change positions from side to side or back and forth. R's, of, belonging to, or associated in some way with us. Will, the mental faculty by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course of action. And, along with, in addition to. R's, of, belonging to, or associated in some way with us. So powerful. Let's see our next word. Lives. Bring to life. To restore to consciousness. Isn't that powerful? Over, above, and across from each side to the other. 2, in one direction toward a person or a thing. The, because of that. Care, to be concerned or interested. Of, caused by, resulting from. God, your relationship that you have with your God. As, for instance, when taken into consideration in a specific relation or form. We refers to all people or people in general. And I always say in this step, it's always a we, thus, us, something that lets us know that we're not doing this program alone, that there's other people that have gone on this journey and they are out here with us. Understood, agreed upon by all parties, implied but not stated. Him, her, or his imperial majesty. Step 3 is so powerful to me. I always say step 3 is like a cake. It has all the ingredients, and it's like and when you're making a cake, you're taking the butter, you're taking the flour, you're taking the baking powder, whatever you put in your cake, a little salt, some eggs, and all that. and then you're forming the cake. And without all the proper ingredients, you don't have a cake. And in step 3 is the same way. Without understanding and without all the proper ingredients, you cannot make the decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understood Him. And this is the step also for me that taught me that I was going to be around these rooms a long, long time, forever. After I did this, I knew that this was the place that I wanted to stay forever, because what it let me know is that as I started to understand, it was going to take a long time, because at this point, in doing 1 through 3, I realized how misconstrued I was in my thinking about life. So when I got here to this step, I was so ready to get the understanding that I needed to get to make the changes that I needed to make in my life to trust myself again. Because this is what this step does. When it put that word decision, it said made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. And it starts off with made, shaping, informing, a decision, an act of making up one's mind, over, belonging to, associating with, your will, your mental, facility by which deliberately choose or decides upon a course of action. That is so powerful, because this is the step that gave me hope that I could trust myself again. And that was so important, because at that time, I had failed myself so much with my thinking and my ways and my actions and all the things that I was doing. I was hurting others. I was hurting me. It was just a hot mess. It was just a hot mess. And it's so good to know that I'm sitting here today knowing that this program works. I know it works. It worked for me. It changed my life around. It gave me hope. It gave me understanding. It gave me purpose. It gave me decisions. It gave me everything. And we are so lucky to have this program and all this wonderful, wonderful literature that changes our life. So we're going to jump in. So get your books too. We're going to start in the book. And I'm going to start at the end of page 61. The last paragraph, and that's where I ended last week. And then I'm going to take it in, and I'm going to do I'm doing pages 60 to 63. And when I work step 3, I use these pages. And what I do is when I'm working these steps, and instead of whenever you see them or they or whatever, I have you put your individual name in there so that you can see that this is who you are and what you have become and what you are doing. It's nothing embarrassing about seeing who you are, because that's what step 3 is about. When you see who you are and you know who you are, that is the only way that you're going to get the understanding and the want and the will to make the changes that you need to change to be better, to get your hope back, to get your confidence back, to see yourself in a whole different light, to start doing things in a different way. So at the bottom of page 61, it says, our actor is self-centered, egocistic, as people like to call it nowadays. He is like a retired businessman who loathes in the Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining of the sad state of the nation. The minister who sides over the sins of the 20th century, politicians and reformers who all are sure all will be utopia if the rest of the world would only behave. I know how that feels. The outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him, and the alcoholic who lost all and is locked up. And I love that, because, for so long, I used to think that talked about prison, that he was locked up in prisons, but it's locked up inside as well. And I get that. And it says, whatever our procrastinations are most of us concerned with ourselves. And when I see that, I'm going to start talking about me. I'm going to say, whatever Karen's procrastinations, are Karen not mostly concerned with Karen's self, Karen's resentment, or Karen's self-pity? Absolutely. And then this is so powerful. This second paragraph jumps right in there. It doesn't cut any corners or anything. It says selfishness, self-centered. It says that's what we think the root of Karen's troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion. I love that because fear comes in so many ways. And the big book says it's 100 forms. There's so many ways that we're fearing. And then we have no idea. We're not even seeing it clear until it's being pointed out to us. That's fear. That's fear. That's why it's so important that you come in these rooms and you sit and you get a sponsor and you work this program, because these people will help point things out to you. If nothing else, your fears will get pointed out to you when you just sitting in meetings and hearing people talk. It's like, wow. And you say, that was fear? I get that. The big book says there's 100. It says 100 forms of fear and self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. Karen stepped on the toes of her fellows, and they retaliated. Sometimes they hurt Karen, seemingly without provocation, but Karen invariably finds that at some times in the past, Karen has made decisions based on self, which later placed Karen in the position to be hurt. That happens so much. And I still, after all these years, over 35 years in this programs now, I still have to watch when I start making those self decisions. Now, don't get carried away with this. You do have to make decisions for yourself. You have to make decisions about how you dress, how you do things. But I'm talking decisions that you know in your heart of heart that they're not right. And you still make the decision anyway to do it your way. And at that time, I did not know that they weren't right. I know that I was feeling funny about it, what I was doing. But I did not quite know like I know today that feeling, whenever I feel that means that I know that that's not right and I shouldn't do it. And I definitely shouldn't make the decision based on me. It goes on to say, so Karen's troubles, we think, are basically of Karen's own making. They arise out of Karen's self, and the alcoholic who is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. And I'm going to say, so Karen usually doesn't think so, that I am self-will run riot. And it goes on to say, above everything, we alcoholics must rid of this selfishness. And it says we must, or it kills us. And I love that. Because you know what? Always remember, like disease or anything, this is a disease. So when it says it kills us, it's a slow, painful death that we're dying in these rooms when we're living in this self-will run riot, in this selfishness. It says God makes that possible, and there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them even though we would have liked to. Neither could we, and I'm going to say neither could Karen, reduce Karen's self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on Karen's own power. Karen had to have God's help. It goes on to say, this is how and why of it. First of all, Karen had to quit playing God. Wow. Wow. I remember reading that, and it just knocked me for a loop. Because yes, I was playing God. I knew what was best for you, and you needed to do what I needed for you to do, or you reaped the consequences of my actions, whatever that may be. And it says, it does not work. So let's first of all listen to what the big book says. It says, it doesn't work in no way, no how, no form whatsoever. It goes on to say, next we decided that hereafter, in the drama of life, God was going to be our director. God was going to be Karen's director. He is the principal. Karen are his agents. He is the father and Karen is his child. Most good ideas are simple, and this concept was the keystone of a new and triumph arch through which Karen passed to freedom. Right there. Just quit playing God. It doesn't work. Decide that this part after, that this drama in life, that God was going to direct my step. I was going to be his agent. I was going to try to listen to him and build this relationship, because at this point in my life, I'm on step 3, and I had worked 1 and 2, and I understood the powerlessness, and I gave up the responsibility, and I knew that there was something greater than me that could help me through this. And now I'm getting myself back to where I can say, I can make a decision. I am really clear to make a decision, and I'm not afraid at this point. It goes on to say, when Karen sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. One more time, the promises. Again, there's promises. I know we do the promises in step 10, but there's promises all through the big book about when you do this, you will get this. And it's definite. It's definite. Do it, you reap the actions. It says, we had a new employer, being all-powerful. He provided what we needed. And I'm going to go back. Karen had a new employer, being all-powerful. He provided what Karen needed. If Karen kept close to him and performed his work well, established on such a footing, Karen became less and less interested in herself. Karen's little plans and designs, and it says more and more Karen became interested in seeing what Karen could contribute to life. And that's what we're here to do. What can we contribute to life? Not what we can take out of life. That's going to come naturally for us. I was always concerned with what I was going to get, and it was driving me insane. What am I going to get out of this? You don't get it, you drink. If you don't get it, you eat. If you don't get it, you have sex. If you don't get it, you steal. If you don't get it, you try to control it to get it done. If you don't get it, and then when you get it, you're miserable because it's not really what you need or what you really want anyway, and then you're still acting out. So it goes on to say, as Karen felt new power flow in, as Karen enjoyed peace of mind, as Karen discovered Karen could face life successful. Now, 1, 2, and 3, by the time you get to 3, you're discovering you got peace. You face life successfully just right here. And you still have the rest of the steps to go. As Karen became conscious of his presence, Karen began to lose her fears of today, tomorrow, and the thereafter. Karen was reborn. By the time you get to step 3, it changes your life so much that you can feel that transformation of being reborn. I felt rebirth. I did. Just doing this, I was just like, wow, wow. This is so simple. This is so simple. Why am I making it so hard? Why am I not surrendering? Why is my purpose all about me and not what I can contribute? Why am I so concerned that my selfishness is eating me away and causing me to drink or overeat or smoke or get high or whatever you do, steal, sex, whatever, and on the others control people, manipulate people, try to get things done the way I wanted them to get done. You know, all the craziness. And by this time, I'm reborn and I'm feeling it and I'm loving it. I'm loving how life is treating me, how life has me feeling at this time. I'm thinking, oh my God, such a peace. And do you know that peace has grown and grown and grown and just got better and better and stronger and stronger and stronger? I remember days in this program before I came in this program, how my sleep used to be. And now, no matter what's going on today, because I have tools, I have a sponsor, I have a program, I have reading material that I can read. I have so many things to take me out of wherever I'm at today. And there is no excuse because you have tools. If you're in this room, you have the tools. All you have to do is do step 3 and make the decision to turn your will over and surrender. Yes, you might not want to, you might be feeling bad or angry, and you have to pick up a book now. And yes, you have to read pages on anger to get yourself into check. But how beautiful is that? You have the tools. They're there. You have to get into the big book. Yes. Do you know when I work steps 1, 2, and 3 for 1 month every day, and it's in my book, Changing the Game Plan, I have the person that I'm sponsoring read these pages with their names in all those places for 30 days. Because we have the tools. We have no excuse except for self-will, run wild. We're selfish. We don't want to do it. We want it to be done. We want to stop what we want to stop, but we don't want to do the work. In this program, you're going to work. You're going to work at this. You have to work at this. You have to do things. My life isn't like everybody's life. It's unfortunate. Things happen to me. I have to pick up the phone and call somebody. Things happen to me. I have to pick up my literature. Every day I have to read from devotionals and stuff just to start my day off right. And I'm okay with that. You know why? Because like the big book says, I have now come to a part where I feel and I enjoy peace of mind. And I have discovered that I can face life successfully with the tools of this program. And why not use them? They're available to you. We have slogans. Easy does it. Sometimes I'll be going through something and I'll be roused up and I think of the slogans. Easy does it. One day at a time. Just for the day. Just for the day, Karen. You can just get through it. Just for the day. That one thing over and over repeated in my mind gives me peace. It stops me. The tools of this program stop you. They stop you from going down that avenue. They stop you from making those crazy decisions that you used to make. You don't have to do it anymore. You have tools in this program. Use them. Do whatever it takes. I always say, fight for you. Fight for you. And it goes on to say, and I'm going to end it. It says, we're now at step 3. Many of us have said to our Maker as we understood him, and I love this prayer, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thy will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them will bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Amen. And it goes on to say, we thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready, that we could at least abandon ourselves utterly to him. Is that powerful or what? Use this program. Use everything you have. Make your life better. Take your time. So what? Make mistakes. Fall down. Pick up. But when you come up, pick up your step. Pick up your tools of the program. Don't throw them away. You have to practice sometimes over and over again to get it. Sometimes it took me years sometimes, and I'm still working on myself, getting things better. And how many slips have I had over just the last 2 days? You're always going to be there, but you have tools now that will help you get it right. And so many times I do get it right because I know it's okay. Yes, there are times that I get worn out of the repetition, but I know today clearly that I can never get tired of the repetition that I have that keeps me sane, because I like myself when I feel good about my decisions, my choices, when I'm not in other people's things, when I'm not doing things that affect other people. I like myself. And I don't do this program perfect, but I do this program with the tools of the program. And now we have to stop. So thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you next week, and we will be continuing. In step 3, we're going to move to some of the other literature, because why? We have tools. We have tools. So you know how I always close out, and I always like to say this when I'm closing out, and that is go to meetings, get a sponsor, and get better, and choose and fight for you today. You have everything that you need to get better. Blessings over you today, great people. See you next week.